We're gonna chill in a bog with some frogs on a log, like a hog in the dog frogs. Hello everyone, my name is Tom, and welcome back to Let's Talk with Tom. This is the show where, holy crap, I forgot the intro. Alright, time to go. Hello everyone, my name is Tom, and welcome back to Let's Talk with Tom, the show where I talk about any animated show I feel like talking about, and of course I have to talk about Amphibia, because everybody's talking about Amphibia, because Amphibia is about to be the next big show in animation. Mark my words on that. If it's not already, because there's already a lot of hype around it, but I feel like it's just going to keep getting bigger. Like, it is going to be one of the titans of this next generation of cartoons. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So Amphibia is Disney's latest animated hit, created by Matt Braley. He is known for working on Gravity Falls, but he also has writing credits on Steven Universe and Big City Green, so he is a credible cartoon dude. And now with one season of his new show under his belt, I think it's clear that Amphibia is ready to take the world by storm. It started off as a fish out of water mystery story that then evolves into a heartwarming tale about doing the right thing even in the face of peer pressure. The main character, Anne, voiced by my childhood crush, Brenda Song, is a teenage girl who is transported into a world where everyone is a frog. And we have no idea how she got there. Well, we got some idea, but it was kind of just like, oh, open a music box, whoosh, you're in a bog with some frogs. It's a show that gives you a lot of questions that needs to be answered, and that's good, because they answer quite a bit of them. But not too many, because you don't want all of them. Until the show's over, at least. So she's living with a frog family called the Planters. You got the elder frog, Hopadiah, also known as Hop Pop. He looks like that, except a little less terrifying. Our boy Sprig, who's an energetic little kid frog. He's looking for adventure, and he becomes best friends with Anne. And then Polly is a tadpole with a lot of sass and attitude. And Polly is interesting to me because, like, if there ever is, like, any plans in this show to, like, age up the characters, how would that affect her character? Because, like, part of the charm is that she's just like an orb with no legs, ready to fight everyone. Like, if some point they start to turn her into a frog, that charm isn't gonna be there as much, so you're gonna have to adapt the writing and evolve her as a character to some extent, and I'm wondering how that would play out. Like, I'm not saying that's gonna happen, like, they might just leave her as a tadpole the entire show. I don't know, this is what I think about when I wander the streets at night. Anyways, don't mind me, I'm just thinking outside the box like nobody asked me to. But Anne plays really well into this whole family dynamic, because she's both older than Sprig and Polly, which means while she's kind of friends with both of them, she acts kind of more like a big sister to both of them as well. Then by playing both the oldest child and the outsider, her relationship with Hop Pop is simultaneously person to person, as well as Hop Pop being her elder and trying to mentor her and teach her how to do taxes, and just overall help in like assimilating into this alien world that she's in. While Anne offers aspects of her own world and culture to both the family and the town of Wartwood as a whole. But most of the stories centering around Anne and Hop Pop are mostly focusing on a generational divide, which goes to show that no matter what world you're in, old people are going to be stuck in their ways, and young people are going to be excited for what's new and changing in the world around them, which obviously causes disagreements between the two, but the show focuses a lot on them learning to understand one another despite that, in what is an overall very heartwarming dynamic that helps both of them grow as characters. It's very refreshing, just like in the fact that with Anne and Sprig, they're a boy and a girl, but because of the overall kind of sibling dynamic, there's never a point where you're like, oh, is there a will they, won't they?
Whoa! Not my boyfriend! Yeah, she's way too old for me. Yeah!
So we just get a really genuine representation of male and female friendship, which is crazy how it's a rare thing still, but it kind of is. Like, I'm sure there are other examples that I'm not thinking of, but it's really hard for me to think of another case where it's like a boy and a girl being really close friends in a show without there ever being any type of hint at like, oh, are they going to be in a relationship? Tune in next week to find out. Which is lame, because like, we still got so many people out here like, oh, boys and girls, men and women, they can never be just friends. Like, you gotta use your fiction to prove these misconceptions wrong. Like, there are still grown-ass men out here who are terrified of being friend-zoned, which is ridiculous. Like, God forbid that a woman who you thought was cool enough to ask out wants to be your friend and spend time with you despite the fact that she doesn't have romantic feelings for you. Like, look at Sprig and Anne. Look at how happy and healthy this friendship is, where they just hang out, they help each other, they validate one another. Anne even tries to help Sprig get with this one girl who, like, at first he's like, nah, I don't got feelings for her, but then everyone's like, ooh, you like her, don't you? And then when you're young, that's never good, because you got, like, all these hormones going on up in your brain, and then you start playing out scenarios in your head and you're like, ah, crap. Now I actually do have feelings. I'm glad I don't got that going on anymore, because like I've had people ship me with my friends, but it doesn't work because I'm a grown adult who knows how their emotions work. One of the shining aspects of Amphibia is the characters and their dynamics, because it allows not only for really deep emotional moments, but also really fun and interesting dialogue. Then of course, all the characters are products of the world, so as a result, the character building is world building. The community that they live in, the government and power structures of that community, and the people representing all of that are intertwined into the environment so well to make a seamlessly immersive experience into an overarching story. But my goal is not so much to explain all that story. Plus, there's already videos on this channel even. And I'm not here to theorize what will happen within the show. Rather, I'm here to give an optimistic projection of where this show will go in the context of the real world, our culture, and the success the show will have and why. After the first season finale, I think everyone who was following the show realized that there was something special here. The way that they built up tension and mystery into a satisfying conclusion says a lot about where the show is capable of going. And when you compare Amphibia to shows like Steven Universe, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Gravity Falls, there are some very clear similarities. And a lot of them are similarities that have made these shows mentioned very popular. And because of that, it doesn't seem like a stretch to say that Amphibia will join the ranks of those other shows. And one aspect of this is the humor. Animation has historically been a very comedy-driven art form, especially when that animation is going to be marketed towards younger audiences. The problem is sometimes the humor of a show can be its weakest link, and even if everything else is on point, a failure to integrate humor well can be a detriment to your show. For example, F is for Family. It's very popular, a lot of people like it, but for me personally, the humor really misses. And because of that, even though I realize like a lot of the other aspects of the show are done really well, I just can't get into it because the humor is just not for me, making it so it's hard for me to even appreciate the things I do like about the show. Of course, humor is always going to be subjective, which makes it hard to judge how well it's going to be received. But there is a style of absurd, straight-faced humor that Amphibia has that is very reminiscent of the other shows I mentioned, and seems to be getting over very well with the audience, especially since you go on Twitter, you see clips from Amphibia, you see accounts that are dedicated to just posting these funny clips from the show, and that's when you know this is being well received. Not to mention, the more people share those clips, the more people laugh about them, the more conversation there's going to be about your show, and as a result, the more popular you're going to be. And another great thing about this show is the characters are likable. The way the characters grow in this show is so apparent, and it's such a driving force in getting you to warm up to them. Because you get to go on these personal journeys of growth with these characters, which makes you understand them better and have more personal investment. Anne's integration into her new home has forced her and the people around them out of their comfort zones in order to coexist. Anne herself starts off the series seeming very selfish and also carrying some emotional baggage. But it turns out that Anne does have a very strong moral compass, but she was always surrounded by people who made her feel guilty for that. She always put her values second to her desire to please other people. And now that she's around people who reaffirm her values and are happy to see her do the right thing, now she is more comfortable and more confident in standing up for herself and those values, which ultimately makes her a better and more likable person. Especially since we got to go on that journey with that character and see that evolution happen. Another aspect of the show that has potential is the fact that it has a sense of escape. A big thing about art is it lets us escape from reality. If you come home at the end of a bad day and you just want to forget about everything, you can go to pastel palettes of Beach City, or maybe go off into space to Homeworld. Or if you want something more grounded, you can go to a small town in Oregon where weird things happen. Or you can go to Muni, where it feels like anything can happen with all the magical elements and creatures that an entire culture is built off of. And now you can escape to Amphibia, where you can chill, where it's warm and sunny with some frogs, and see how they live their lives. And speaking of discovery, a big aspect of this show is the fact that it leaves room for theories. And I'm not just gonna hype this up because I'm on a channel that's built off of theories, but theories are great for the popularity of an ongoing story, because it creates conversation. It allows room for interpretation. It gives you that personal connection where you can share your own thoughts and feelings with other people and bond over that piece of art. Theories make you think. If you're thinking about a show, it's going to be on your mind, and if more people are thinking about your show, the more attached people are going to be to your show. Art ultimately acts as a way for humans to bond with one another, and a great way to bond with someone is discussing your theories about a TV show. And the more you bond with people over a TV show, the more of a positive association you're going to have with it. And by doing this, the show gives you something that you can take away from it. And even with season 1 of Amphibia concluding, there's still so many avenues to be explored. So if you haven't watched Amphibia yet, I'd seriously recommend you go and watch it right now, because everybody's talking about it. You don't want to have FOMO about everybody else hanging out with these frogs, and you ain't hanging out with no frogs. Just hang out with some frogs, bro. Join the frogs, kids. Give in to the frogs. So as always, I hope you have an awesome day. My name is Tom. That's all I gotta say. Roll the outro. Thank you for watching Let's Talk with Tom on the Roundtable, but Tom isn't just on the Roundtable. I have my own self-titled personal channel. I have a Twitter, I have an Instagram, I have a Snapchat, I have all that good stuff. In fact, I even have a Tumblr. So if you're interested in any of that, check that out, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.